And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Heart of the Cast. And this time we have first of all, Josh Wishman, hello.
Hello.
And the new crowned YCS Vegas champion, Dominic Couch, and his friend.
Yeah.
Is that 3 for 4 for him?
Yeah, it is. But it's actually a little bit more specific than that because they switched the convention center last year. And that's the one he didn't win. So all three of them that were in this specific convention center he won.
It's
He's just a 3v3 beast.
It's crazy because a lot of the people who've won 3v3s have won several of them. I think
Yeah.
Rain has won 3, Pack has won 2, Kamal's won 3.
what do you think
Ruben's
that
won
means?
2.
Like, what is the reason? It's just more good players on a team, higher chance to eliminate variants?
Yeah, I think that is that as well as it could be a slightly different skill set, so rewards those players a little more.
Yeah,
it is a little bit different.
Now that you've played with him for the first time, right, in a 3v3?
I played him 2 weeks ago in El Salvador.
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think there's like something that he adds to like the team dynamic that would make him like a more successful 3v3 duelist?
So it was really funny in El Salvador. He's like, "Be prepared to watch the puppet master at his work," and he started swearing how good he was in 3v3s. And I'm like, "Okay, let's find out, I guess." And he was just a regular duelist in El Salvador. We didn't talk, and I was like, "Okay, that was fun." And he got very like, I guess, upset that we didn't do well because he was hoping to impress me and make a good impression. So over the next 2 weeks, he like grinded infinite of the format, just in general, not the 3v3s, but just the playing a shit ton. And then I could see him like when one of our thirds was when Mike was making a mistake or about to do something that he didn't agree with, out of the corner of his eye, he'd somehow catch it and point out, "Don't do that," or "You're doing this wrong." And he managed to like play both games at the same time. And
Hmm.
he actually did like play like impress me. I was like, "Wow, what the fuck? I can't do that." I probably shouldn't swear, but he'll bleep that out.
Very good.
Uh,
Was Dom the middleman basically?
Tom's the middle. He doesn't really need to help me, so I always tell my teammates, I am not good at multitasking. I cannot help you that much unless my turn is pretty much over or my game is
Mhm.
over. I'm getting comboed. But I will always hold down the fort myself. I won't really need much help from you either. A
Mhm.
Master of the Worlds is honestly the same for me. And combo deck there is nice because if I'm getting comboed by Snake Eyes, I do have 5 minutes to actually help a teammate. I don't have hand traps to interact with anyways, but yeah, for like I was playing a grindy Fiendsmith Resail deck, I pretty much could not help my teammates, except for the one time I got 2-0'd in 10 minutes where I helped my teammates. But that was like the only match the entire tournament where I gave input to them. But Dom helped Mike a lot, and in some games where I didn't think was possible because he had his own very complex game going on, and I would not have been able to help.
So for
Yeah,
whatever
no,
reason,
No, go ahead.
So for whatever reason, Dom just seems to have this bizarre ability to multitask super well, and so that kind of is his 3v3 defining factor.
For him, it definitely gives yeah. For him, it definitely helps a lot. The ability to multitask.
Were you gonna say, Josh?
Yeah. It's I was about to say I think that is an impressive skill set that would definitely help with the 3v3 YCSs because I resonated with what you said in terms of the Master Duel World Championships because it's like the first time I've played in an environment like that, like in a more serious environment.
Mhm.
And I genuinely like felt that way sometimes where like Emra would look over to me and ask me something and I would just not be able to like look at his board state and give him a
A
a
real
well thought
opinion.
out
Yeah.
answer. And while I'm in my game state, right? Like I'm so into my game that I find it very hard to help unless my game's finished.
Yeah,
Then
and
I'm fine.
your teammates aren't idiots. When they're asking you for help, they're not asking easy questions for the most part.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
without you having spent the entirety of their game watching, making reads on their
Yeah.
body language or their movement with the cards, their play patterns, you lack some critical information that really would have helped you if you were in their position. So I feel myself kind of incapable of doing that a lot of the time. Yet Dom managed to do that pretty well. In fact, he actually told me afterwards, "Oh, it's nice to only have to do with one other player because he would not have to look my way a lot of the time." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know how you do that with 3 people. That sounds impossible, but you did it well with him and Mike."
Yeah, that it would be good to ask him honestly, because I mean, there's clearly something very specific and special about his ability to 3v3 well, because it is an unbelievable achievement to go 3 for 4. Like 3 for 4 topping is
Well,
impressive.
it's not 3 for 4. 3 for 4 in that venue, keep in mind, but there's still other 3v3s outside of Vegas. That's
I mean, sure,
my
yeah,
boy.
I
I don't
was-
I don't wanna, like, bring him
It's still a
down.
no
but-
matter what
Yeah,
you do,
yeah,
it's a crazy success rate at 3v3s, even if
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
3, 4, 10 or whatever he's played. Like it's
Yeah.
still, that's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
crazy.
Okay, really quick before we get into the deep diving, because I have a lot of questions to ask about your dynamic and stuff. Did you catch up with Sam and Pack at all this weekend?
Oh, bro, Sam avoids me in these events since he's annoying.
Oh, really?
I saw him for like 5 minutes, I think, the entire weekend.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I don't want to hate too much because he isn't here, but I mean, it's very funny because obviously they did the little content thing with Sam, Pack, and Syriax.
They misspelled the sleeve. Is that what you're going?
No,
going for?
no. From what I heard, Syriax won 4 games, not matches, games.
I have
Poor
no
guy.
idea.
So they,
been there.
Weren't
I've had
they, weren't
teammates
they
shit
like
the bed.
close to topping?
yeah, which is impressive.
They went X3. They lost last round, but the breakers
Yeah.
were so bad they never stood a chance.
I mean,
so they
that's
lost
still
the
yeah,
impressive.
It was not like guaranteed at all. I didn't.
It was
see,
about a 50-50 split.
see, here's the thing. I actually didn't catch much of the coverage, which I guess is a whole different topic about this YCS. It wasn't streamed, which was crazy to begin with. But then at some
Yeah.
point over the course of the weekend, I was like, I better check in with what's happening at YCS Vegas. And I tried to look at the written coverage, which that existed, and it just wasn't accessible from the EU.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, apparently it's Germany only. Apparently you guys just.
Oh, okay.
have-
Well, yeah, sure. Whatever. Well, I guess I low rolled in that regard, but
So for whatever reason, I don't know. Like Konami's blog, is it accessible now or is it?
I mean, I can check while you.
Yeah,
while
you can
talk
you can
about it.
check, but apparently it's just like some German internet legislation just doesn't like let you go onto that specific host server for some reason. I don't know what the reasoning, but it's Germany specifically. So that's crazy that you would have to like VPN just to get some 3v3 coverage.
I still can't look at it, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, it still says forbidden. You don't have permission to access this resource.
Okay, well, it looks like you're gonna have to get a VPN if you ever want to check out an NA blog, Josh.
Dude.
I don't know what the reason is there, but yeah, it's blocked in Germany for whatever reason.
So did it work for you?
Yeah, it works.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, I can double check right now. I didn't have any issues before, but yeah.
Okay, hold up. I'll send you the link I just checked.
Welcome to 3v3 Team Vegas 2025, and then here's
That's crazy.
yeah, there's a big chapters and different things that you can click on. Unfortunate.
Not for me.
Yeah, speaking of carries, you know, Syriax was in the training pods locked in for the event. Play test with the boys. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, but they that's very impressive just how close they got, to be fair.
What
I mean,
what did he play? That's what I'm interested in.
Blue
Did he,
Eyes.
like,
he played Blue
okay.
Eyes? That's like a hard deck to give like a new player person. Well, not new player, but like
he's
new
not
to the
that
format.
new. He's also
new
not
to the,
that bad.
I think he's
was
new
just-
to the format.
That's fair.
I
That's
think,
fair.
like,
I was just wondering what
'cause-
kind of deck he would be willing to play because he's been like very big about like, oh, I don't play meta decks and I like my anime stuff. And
No,
so
no, he
I
was.
guess Blue Eyes is a fair like balance.
He was always gonna lock in because I feel like Blue Eyes is a hard deck in the sense that you need like format knowledge. Like you can't just like throw your interrupts wherever, like because it's quite.
Every deck is like that, though. To be fair,
that
at
is-
the
that's
highest
always the
level is the
case.
problem. Like, yeah, I think Blue Eyes is pretty like moderate, and it was a fine pick.
You don't think that like I don't know something a little more combo heavy is better because like I mean you know sometimes your deck is just
Combo
too,
heavy
so
requires
powerful.
so much knowledge on your opponent's non-engine, though.
Hmm.
Like maybe less on the interruption side, but on the non-engine, you have to be very in tune with the meta.
What
And
would
then going
you have
second,
given
you still have to know
him
the disruption.
theoretically?
But I think Blue Eyes is a fine choice for sure.
I think just like
Something
pure
that-
Resail could have been a better choice in my opinion.
The problem is Pure Eyes, though, is now you're playing Pure Eyes on mirrors, and you have to be better in a mirror match. That's
I also don't think this
Like
Syriax
skill
was ever
sets.
gonna do that.
That's
yeah.
just not his
Also, yeah, and
personality.
that's another thing as well. I've made this mistake before with 3v3s. Forcing people to play something they don't want to play ends very badly. They have to be motivated to play and to learn. Otherwise, they're going to shit the bed.
Yeah, comfort pick is always the best. But speaking of which, how did you guys come to the conclusion on your deck lists? Was it a team effort thing, or is it just a very sort of, all right, everyone, we're all just good players, we do our thing, and just see how it goes?
I'm very lazy. So I don't have like a good story for you guys about how you work hard and get there. As I said, Dom works a lot in the 2 weeks, but leading into the events, I kept saying, I have no idea what I'm going to play. I have no idea what I'm going to play. And I know he was leaning towards the Shark Resail deck, but it was completely like untested in the field. And I typically don't like doing that unless it feels incredibly strong or it just feels natural to me. And I wasn't sure about it. So I didn't go with that. And then we also said we could do our own things if we wanted to. So I decided not to do what Mike and Dom were doing. and I just played Fiends with the Resail.
So just a very
Very
vanilla,
traditional.
very
My
standard.
deck had nothing special. I guess the only thing cool about it, if you can call it that, is similar to Apollo's, like a heavy focus on some of the power spells. I think in general, as a team, we thought Crossouts and Talons were some of the best cards right now, and Droll. So like those 9 and Call by 10 were just in our decks, like no matter what we were playing, pretty much, and that helped us either way. But otherwise, my deck was just incredibly normal. I didn't have anything cool in my deck.
Josh, is there any thoughts that you would have had playing this event? Like anything you would have personally picked or tried out?
I mean, I haven't really tested that much post Maze of the Master because I've just been very busy with Master Duel recently, and there's not a big event for me coming up that I'm expecting to be under this ban list. Don't know exactly when we're gonna get the next one, but I don't expect to play a bigger TCG event under the current ban list because I'm expecting it soon. Like my guess is at the latest I'm expecting it at YCS Houston if they want to do it during the YCS again, if not before that. But I do think I would have probably favored the pure Resail deck, given that that was already the deck I preferred for YCS Birmingham, which was before they gave it even more consistency. So
Yeah, so my problem with the pure deck was I think Metal Tronus is only growing in popularity, and
mhm,
now Slayer and Talons are as well in people's main decks. And
yeah,
when you're ending on weaker fields, because I mean it's not a weak field, but it is weaker, you can just get blown up by that a lot more. So I felt like I always wanted something else, and my teammate's solution was the shark cards, which I think was completely valid. I just wasn't always sure if it was enough,
mhm,
and also didn't feel comfortable playing it, having never played it before.
yeah,
Where the Resail cards or the Feast of the cards are similar, but also specifically if people playing board breaking spells, and also people are off Bistrels more and more. But those two things together, the kind of allure I had to the Fiendsmith cards is Paradise, and specifically Paradise just lets you hold off their duo drive whenever you were getting your board cracked, so you could focus more on the backswing, and that was specifically huge. So that main interaction is what drew me to the deck. The deck has weaknesses though. Fugalos and Droll are very popular. Both cards are fantastic against Fiendsmith. But yeah, that and I needed more starters. So I guess Tachyon would have solved that. Playing Imitsu, there were just too many games. Like most of the games I lost between Birmingham, Orlando, and El Salvador games, I look at my hand of 5 non-Riso cards, and I'm like, damn,
yeah.
I don't get to play the good deck.
So did you ever consider picking up the Mitsurugi deck again now that you can like play more copies of X Resail in it?
um, we got Drolled so much in El Salvador. I didn't think it'd be that popular, but it was
Yeah.
apparent that card was just going to be everywhere. And that one, it hits that deck harder than anything else. Like Droll hits Fiendsmith still hard, but not as hard, truthfully.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then like if the whole theory behind Mitsu was that you can convert your extra rank 4s into more meaningful threats to force out hand traps, then the shark cards do the same thing. Because the whole point is that your extra extenders give you a new rank 4, which
Can you give
demands
like
a hand trap
a
being used
very
on it.
basic like rundown of the shark cards? Because I think it's fairly new, and some listeners might not be fully aware of what that actually means. Like, what are these new
Alright.
sharks that are in the game now?
So the Big Jaws is so both the cards are from Rhoda, Surfing Big Jaws and Drake Shark. Big Jaws says if you use a spell this turn, it can summon itself from the hand and then search a shark card. So you search Drake Shark. Drake Shark, when it gets added from anywhere to the hand, summons itself. And they're both 4s. So it's a free rank 4, both water. You can, of course, make Bahamut Toad, something you could not do in OCG. However, with that, you have to just make sure that you do so before you lock yourself out of rank 4s, because all the Risails that summon from the hand do that. But say you open up like Ice plus Big Jaws, and we weren't respecting Nib that much this tournament because we found Nib is just not very good right now. It pairs badly with Droll, which we thought was very good. It wasn't good with Talents, which we thought was very good. It's bad in Pure, so for the most part, Nib was only really good going first card, and some deck lists were starting to reflect that as it was phased more and more out of deck lists. So we'd also pick this because the combo is a bit gradient to Nib, but it plays very well into other things. If you have like Ice Big Jaws, you can get Ice into X search before you get a non-4 on the field. That doesn't lock you. Then Big Jaws and Drake out. So it's 4 monsters up. 2 can turn into Bahamut, get Toad, and now you're safe from hand traps to some extent. You can make Star Liege. Or I guess before you have to do that, you summon Sword, make Star Liege, then summon X. Star Liege says all you guys with 1,000 more attack are immune to targeting and destruction, and then X plus Sword makes Duo. 2 materials is going to give you Star Liege protection as well, so your Toad can't be targeted, your Duo can't be targeted, your Star Liege can't be targeted, and your Duo searches 2 cards. cross node. You can make twins with Duo and Bahamut, and then summon node, send off the twins, revive the duo, and attach. Now you have 2 materials back on the back on the duo, which is important. Activate cross, make detonators. Now you have Toad, detonator, cross, duo, twins under the detonator, and you have Star Liege, and then obviously it's all untargetable as well. And then you'll draw off cross. So it pretty much meant that like all the main breakers couldn't work. Metaltronus you can't target anything with. Slayer you can't target anything with. Eclipse you had to negate 4 if you needed to. Talons you had to negate 4. And we also can't really threaten the battle phase that well because Detonator's battle phase protection and the duo drive attack modulator meant that it was really hard to force out the board here, and you can do really well. On top of that, Toad's Graveyard effect is incredibly important because, for one, Eclipse Twin can attach any XYZ level 4 or rank 4 lower to another XYZ. So you can go like target Detonator plus Duo. How do I say that? A Detonator plus Toad. And then when Toad goes back to grave, it adds back. Unless you keep adding back the Jaws and Drake Shark. Or you can go X send Toad. And that came up a couple times where if it gets imperm, now Toad adds back Drake Shark and specials itself for free. That makes Duo drive as well. So it actually makes those extenders even more impactful. I think one time I saw Mike had 2 Ultimate Slayers in his hand, and one sent twins, one sent Toad, and that just completely ruined his opponent.
All right, cool. Very good rundown. I suppose like the one thing that I hoped you would bring up as well is the fact that you can just use Tachyon for this, which is the new cards, right? Like
yeah, and that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
We found that we wanted more starters in the pure deck. That's always kind of been frustrating. How it's ironically pretty inconsistent for a control deck, or a mid-range deck, whatever you want to classify it as. But it felt very, unfortunately, bricky. Where there's a very decent chance you just drew no engine, or if your opponent got greedy and impermed or ashed the first thing you did, you would have to pass back, which sucks. So we want to play Tachyon, but the problem with it is, another problem with Resail is you draw all Resail cards, because they all search each other. If you're playing against breakers and you start searching all your Resail cards, you kind of don't end on anything extra, or you make very crappy bonus rank 4s like Dweller, which aren't crappy, but in some matchups aren't always the best. Or
Crappy Dweller, man.
People go to Garrus, and that's like,
Yeah.
So the point being, wanted something extra to convert your extra monsters into. And when you had Tachyon plus Bonfire plus Ice, now it's like, okay, now instead of getting a 3rd light Resail monster, we can get a shark card. And that's how it works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
think
that's very
the 7 Tachyon really is what makes the shark package really click with Resail, because it is something that people have messed around with in the past. I did too, at some point, for just extra consistency somewhat, because the shark also does worst case work as a normal summon if you draw
Does, yeah.
Surfacing Big Jaws. But it's obviously at its best if you activate a spell card beforehand so you can special it. So like people have been messing around with it in like in the sense that like if you activate a bonfire or a desires beforehand, or you draw like Resail Cross or something, you can just use it as a starter / extender. It just hasn't really, I feel like, worked out good enough because there's not enough actual spell cards that you would want to pair with the Surfacing Big Jaws. Because like, guess what? If you have bonfire already, you technically don't really need the extra starter. Like you don't have that problem to begin with. And 7 Tachyon just makes it so you can it can be a starter or extender, as well as you can also put back the Drake Shark, which was another really annoying part whenever I played with that engine.
Yeah.
It's like it solves that problem for you as well, which is really cool.
What issues did you have with Malice? We can see from the top cut representation, there was a full team, YPFL, shout outs to them. They just played like a full Malice, team. Other than that, I think all the way down to like top 32, everyone, like there wasn't any Malice like teams. Like it was pretty much everyone was just like Resail Fiendsmith or like some sort of mixture, but there was like only like a handful kind of cherry picked throughout. Like, why is Malice just so unpopular?
Well, you're asking the wrong two, I think, for like
you
you're
just,
not
do
gonna
you
get
just
any
both hate
Malice.
Malice? Like,
I actually think Malice is a fine pick, and I wanted to play it, but there's more of a learning curve to it. Like I had never played the deck before. I played Resail a lot. I played Fiendsmith a lot, so it was more natural. And I was going to put in a lot of time to practice. Why would I pick a deck that I had no clue what I was doing
that's
with?
always fair, yeah.
I actually think Malice was a fine pick for the tournament, though, because so much more focus was being put on Resail. You could get away with a lot more, and you'd still get land seed a lot. But honestly, like the way I've lost to Malice has been games where we get into a war of non-engine, and if you're gonna get into a war of non-engine anyways to any deck, it doesn't matter which deck you're really playing. the Mouse at least has a really good game one and really good going first. We don't get Lanciad. To the point where I actually thought it was a pretty fair like deck to choose. It's a little bit harder to navigate some Ryan games, I think, because I see a lot of people make mistakes with it, but maybe that hurts it. And a lot of the better players don't pick it, whatever reason. Not wanting to get Lancey is a big one. Yeah, I actually think the deck is it's not bad right now.
It's definitely not bad. I do think Lancia is, at least to me, a huge factor of like discouraging me from wanting to play the deck because it just feels like this element that you're gonna face in every single match that is just out of your control, which is just I think the thought of that is something that people just don't like.
So
Um,
Yeah,
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 just
I think Droll though now is kind of feeling that for Resail. It's in every deck, and Droll doesn't end your turn, but
yeah.
it's brutal. And the amount of times I go my opponents or I go detonator pass, you just still lose because if you're playing the mirror release, you just exit aggregator, next detonator. It just feels so hopeless. Like yes, you got to play, but not really. It really wasn't much.
did you guys both have a chance to react to Triff's profile? Because it's always good to just watch Triff deck profiles anyway, in general, for cinematic reasons. But did you guys see
No.
his list at all?
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, I'm gonna be really bad at explaining it, but he played like um a Malice, Bestial, and what was the third engine? Fiendsmith?
Fiendsmith.
Yeah. Don't know if you have any thoughts on that on paper, but watching his profile, it seemed interesting. Fiendsmith cards are good. Like, and you
Yeah, I
combine
mean
that.
that is that concept is nothing completely new, is it?
No idea.
That's like a relatively. I mean, that is a version of Malice. Like people have been playing Fiendsmith to have some better game under Lancia for a while.
I
Yeah,
think it
I
It's
was
only
like
not
the
played
changed.
against
bestials
two
were
of those
quite a
last
heavy
tournament.
engine that he played. So he was like playing like
Yeah,
Lebellion and stuff, not just
yeah.
like.
That, but
We
that's
only
that's normal.
Is
It
it
actually
okay?
wasn't even that heavy because like people were topping Orlando with 10 Bistrels the deck.
Yeah.
Triff played Lebellion, but he played one of each like small Bistral. So
Hmm.
his engine actually wasn't that heavy by
Oh, okay.
comparison.
Yeah, I mean, he was still
Yeah,
playing
the
like.
idea, of course, being like Bestials are both phenomenal like hand traps against Fiendsmith, but also very, very good extenders for Malice specifically. Like whenever every single Malice normal summon plus a Bestial, I think plays through like most of the quote unquote fair hand traps pretty well. Like all of the Imperm Veilers and Ash, whatever. Like if you have a Malice plus a Bestial, like you cook those kind of hands.
Yeah, and I think he was also making space for like 20 non-engine as well. I recall he played like 3 tracked. Is that like normal?
No.
No, yeah,
I'd say usually you see 1 to 2.
I'm pretty sure he was on like 3 tracked because like I don't know. I guess he was just convinced that one card combo into Fiendsmith plus your like 4 others. It was really cool. I liked it. I'm not very deep into the
Yeah.
TCG right now, so I can't really evaluate at all. But it actually generally seemed interesting, and I just thought maybe you guys would have watched it. But that's some React content for your streams, I guess, at some point. um, but yeah, Malice is I guess one of the decks of all time. I suppose there wasn't really much other choice, was there? I mean, did you guys
I mean
think?
that's what I wanted to bring up about this YCS. I feel like this top cut breakdown when I looked at it, I think it was earlier today. Um, it seems like I haven't fact checked this, but I'm pretty sure this is like the least diverse top cut breakdown I've seen in a long time. Because it's a total of 6 different decks, 2 of which were just one-ofs. Like there was one Voiceless Voice, which was also a Ryziel variant. And then there was like one Bestial Fiendsmith. There was Blue Eyes, Malice, um, obviously Ryziel, and
Mermail.
Mermail. Like that's it. 6 different decks. One of them was also a Ryziel variant. So yeah, it's getting to the point where I personally, my personal evaluation of the current format is, I think gameplay wise, I like Ryziel, but I do think it's getting to the point where with the added consistency from 7 Tachyon, there's like barely anything else that seems viable at a very high competitive level. Of course, there's a few other options like Malice, Mermail, and Blue Eyes are all solid decks, I would say. But we are getting to a point where, I mean, Top Cut was like 66% Ryziel.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And Ryzo variants like 2/3. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not like small. That's huge. But we can go
That's
over like
hovering the numbers that people always reference when they talk about when they want to find a number for tier 0. Like I think most people will tell you like 65% or whatever
hmm,
is what they go for. I don't like to look at it from that perspective, but I do think that's what people usually say when they try to look for numbers.
So the comparison is brought up to me, and it feels more and more true the more I've thought about it. That looking at Resail, kind of like looking at Cash Tira. No, you
Yep.
can't mix Cash Tira with other stuff as much. But yeah, the Detonator is just a very overbearing presence on the field in the game state, similar to Rise Heart. Both decks play from hand extremely well, relatively consistent, and they aren't exact, analogs, but they are very similar. For me, I started off liking this format because I started off like Resail, and the Resail mirror is good. Like the Kashtira mirror was good, but every other matchup is not good. Every other matchup is either unfair for you or unfair for the opponent. Uh, and Kashtira was the same. Where I came into the Kashtira format and playing not Kashtira decks and playing against anything that's not Kashtira against Kashtira, it feels dreadful. And Resail similar. Playing any type of rogue deck into Detonator feels like an impossible task. Even Malice, you need non-engine, so it feels like uninteresting.
It's the kind of comparison that I felt like made sense once you talk about this whole like draw the out kind of situation, because a Rise Heart similar to Detonator is the kind of card that if you have an out to it, you can technically play the game with any deck. Like the Resail board is not something that'll necessarily stop every deck from playing. The only thing is you have to get through the Detonator first. Then you can play your rogue deck and you might have a chance at winning. And it was the same in Kashtira format. You weren't necessarily forced to play Kashtira, even though a Rise Heart was a really powerful card. You could play, like, I went the entire Kashtira format without ever entering a tournament with Kashtira. But it did, like, if I was queuing
Based.
into a Kashtira deck with my Sprite Runic deck, whatever, I did have to draw an out for the Rise Heart first, and then the game would start, basically, right? So there were some non-games, but it didn't stop me from playing the deck I wanted to play. And I think
Let's-
Resail is kind of similar to that, especially considering how a Rise Heart also locked out the graveyard, which Resail technically in a way also does because it has access to Dweller as well. So even though Resail needs two different monsters to replicate the power of one Rise Heart, it still kind of has the ability to do that. So you need a deck that can deal with the pops, and you need a deck that can deal with the graveyard hate of Dweller, which is kind of rough.
And for me, part of the ironic thing with it is like a Rise Heart wasn't the biggest deal in the Cash mirror. The same amount Detonator isn't really the biggest deal in the
Yeah,
Rise Zone mirror.
yeah. It's very similar in terms of the dynamics it has on the format, and I think it's gameplay wise, I also don't look back at Kashtira format and think like, oh, that format was horrible. I do think there's like all the events I played there was like a lot of solid games, a lot of fine games. Of course, some non-games which you would sometimes like not have an out to a Rise Heart or whatever, but for the most part, it was fine gameplay wise. But it still doesn't go down as like one of my favorite formats of all time. I think right now I feel kind of similar, especially now that Resail has kind of reached like its peak potential with like 7 Tachyon making the deck hyper consistent. I mean, I looked at your guys' first place deck lists from the YCS, and I feel like the going second against that deck at this point seems like almost impossible because you got like the cross outs, the talents in there.
Yeah.
You make like Toad on top of everything. It's like it's really reached a point where the Resail end board is not just like deal with Detonator anymore because there's like a whole like new dimension to it where it's like the talents cross out, Toad untargetable because of photon. Like the deck really has evolved from its like initial form into something that is much harder to beat going second.
I don't know if you want to like spend any time talking about like some of the other decks, but do you have any thoughts on like Blue Eyes or Mermail specifically that you want to bring up?
I'm scared of Mermail.
Yeah,
I'm
that
scared
deck
of
is
Mermail, but I
not
could
fun to
never
play
play
against.
that event or play that for an event. Being not
Just
good at the
Dweller.
Dweller, as well as when the deck opens Prince, it's crazy. Like it could beat Dweller sometimes. But when it doesn't open Prince, the deck kind of sucks. That's my biggest problem with it. It's not that consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like my biggest
It's
issue with it
it's
for
a
sure.
very, very powerful deck that I am kind of scared of. If they ever think about hitting Dweller, which of course I've advocated for in my recent like ban list discussions and
Yeah,
whatnot, I
same.
do think Dweller deserves to be banned, but I am kind of scared of what would happen with Mermail if that happens.
I think it's time for
Um,
your friend to go, Josh.
hmm?
I think it's time for your friend to go.
I predicted Toad. I said Toad. I was willing to give it up. But
Okay,
I'm not
good.
even sure. I looked at a Mermail list from YCS Vegas, and I'm like, okay, dude, if we get rid of Toad, I'm still looking at like that list still had 3 Deep Sea Minstrel to hand rip, Mooling Glacier to hand rip 2 more, and I know they can make Trishula, and that list also played Barrier Statue of the Torrent. So it's not like
Yeah.
Toad is gone and suddenly everything is cool with that deck. Like they still have some very very obnoxious stuff.
So, there was one interesting game we had in the tournament against Mermail. Round 9, we played against one of the best teams he played all tournament. It was I played against Charlie Futch. Dom played against Ruben, our world champion, and Mike played against Kamal. I got destroyed by Charlie in 10 minutes, uh, and shifted my attention to Kamal versus Mike. And their game one, Kamal won the roll and got to combo against uh, Mike, and messed up slightly, but had almost the entire combo. Still had Alacia with 2 Toads, hand rip 2, and the Rhine engrave. And because of how crazy Resail is, between like talents and X and whatnot, Mike was able to get it back down to 0 interrupts from Kamal's end, and then resolve a duo drive. So use Tachyon for the big draw stuff, go to duo drive, node into Ragna 0. Then Ragna 0, because of the modulation on duo drive, pops Glacia, skips the battle phase, draw a card, draw phase, pop the shark so it doesn't reset again. You get the Bahamut shark, draw another card, and with no battle phase, Kamal passes back with a half field now because he's running out of cards. And we actually win this game in time. A game 1 in time 45 minutes later. So like
Wow.
the board is good, but
Yeah.
I think it is not as crazy, especially without Toad, because they lose a lot of their recyclability. They lose the Omni negates, especially with Yu-Gi-Oh being 1-card combos. If you banish 3 cards from my hand, then I got extender plus starter. I'm cooking, but
Yeah, I agree. That's why I did put Toad to ban. That was my preferred way of hitting the
Yeah.
deck. It's still concerning, is what I'm trying to get at. Like even if they,
it still
'cause I
is
feel
very
like
good.
it'd be a pretty heads up thing for them to do anyways, which I'm not sure if that's to be expected. Like Mermail, if you look at just raw representation right now, technically does not deserve a hit. Like there was as many Mermails in Top Cut there as it was Blue Eyes, and I mean I don't think Blue Eyes deserves a hit at all. But it's just like if they actually want to ban Dweller, are they actually like heads up enough to hit Mermail in advance? I'm not sure.
God, yeah. I'm hoping they have the foresight, but
Yeah.
I don't know how much faith I have.
Um, you are, yeah. So I mean, you're obviously both very familiar with Master Duel, and I was just wondering before we
What's
head
that?
into some Master Duel, we can probably maybe do a couple of predictions or something, because the ban list should probably, when is Houston? 5th, 6th. So next week as of record, no, 2 weeks from as of recording
2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks, pretty much. Yeah.
is probably when the ban list is, if we're going to assume this whole new YCS announcement pattern is the new standard going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, TCG predictions. What do you guys think or want to see? How will
Those
that...
are 2 very different questions.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. We all have like the wish list of its, I suppose, the realistic type, and then there's the wish list
Yeah.
of let's overhaul the game type of ban list.
Yeah.
We could probably talk a little bit about the, I guess, just what we expect to happen. I think is the best one. Jesse, I suppose you want to begin?
I don't really expect much to happen, to be honest. They still have these
Yeah, same.
decks getting support soon, and people have been saying, "Oh, the format's good," and I think it's fine, but it'll get stale quick, and I think we're already approaching that, so I don't want them to like say, "Oh, it's okay for 4 more months." But I'm really expecting very little. Like if I have to expect Konami to do like small little taps in the head type of thing for most stuff, like I could see Bonfire to 1, Dweller banned, Limit Shifter to be like the extent of the hits they have for Resail and Malice, which really is not much. But
Mm.
I'm not expecting a big list. I'm not expecting direct hits, and I'm not expecting anything that actually makes huge differences besides maybe Dweller. But also, who knows if they really follow suit with OCG? But I think they will.
Yeah, mine's is very simple. I completely agree. I don't think they're gonna hit anything because like everything is still to be sold. I guess I think Engraver and Bonfire might go to 1, and that's kind of the most.
Oh yeah, Feast and
major
Charge probably
hits.
gonna hit to some degree, but I have no idea how it's gonna be.
Yeah, I've talked about this extensively as well. I have no idea exactly how you're gonna like weaken Fiendsmith, because I don't think they want to kill it yet, because none of those cards have been like reprinted at all. But it's like a very difficult thing to just weaken slightly. I do think Engraver to 1, I guess, makes sense, but even that is something that I don't know. Engraver never been reprinted yet, and putting that thing to 1 seems, from a gameplay perspective, I'd be happy with it. I think from their perspective, I think it's a little too early for that, or too harsh. But I don't know. I think something very realistic is Bonfire and X to 1, similar to the OCG, because simply I think it's both from I think this is one of the rare moments where gameplay and marketing align to the point where I think it makes sense to limit X Resail because it's by far the best like starter slash extender slash follow up play, and it also makes people just play more 7 Tachyon because it searches that card, and I think that's why it makes sense to do that. And Bonfire, same thing. Like Bonfire, phenomenal card, but has been reprinted, and you can just replace it by buying our newest product, right? So I think that makes sense.
I think that's the sadly the approach that always exists, which is like, hey, reprint has to be considered and has to be in mind, but
Konami has
those
the
make the most
capacity to
sense.
surprise us, but I don't know if what. Yeah, we'll see. I'm hopeful, but at the same time, not that hopeful.
Like
I
his
will say I think it's the kind of format though where Resail is not that far above the rest where some small changes wouldn't bring it like more in line. Like if it's not the same as like I don't know, Snake Eye is full power and they limit Snake Eye Ash and it changes 0. Like if they do some semi impactful changes to Resail like Bonfire X and Dweller, then I do think it opens up some more avenues to play some other decks. Especially the Dweller ban would open up like a lot
Yeah.
of ways to play into the board better without having to worry about like because there are decks like I don't know, you think of like Unchained or something that like don't care that much about the detonator, but they get destroyed by Dweller. All of a sudden, Dweller is banned, and you could consider playing that deck again, maybe because it's still powerful. You know, you're like Unchained is a powerful deck.
All my favorite decks: Tier,
Yeah.
Fire King, Unchained, just Graveyard.
Yeah, all those
Man,
decks, you know, Dweller is banned. All of a sudden, the Resail matchup is completely like different.
Scourge on the game.
Or Mermail. Yeah, that's just another deck that, like, if Dweller is banned, I'm
Let's
pretty
just,
sure Mermail just farms Resail if Dweller is banned.
probably.
Any surprise shocker returns or anything like that?
Returns are
All
my
off the
least favorite
list.
topic.
Yeah, I mean it's throw the dart at the board and see what it lands on.
It's just
There's so many cards that could come back.
the unfortunate thing is just it tends to be too late whenever they bring something back. Because it's just like, yeah, okay, Harp Horror maybe would have been interesting like 2 years ago, but at this point it needs legacy support to even be considered again, which I mean that's gonna happen soon, but uh most of the time cards come back. Most of the things on the list I think can either not come back because they're way too powerful, or they would come back and not do anything. There's very few cards I think that would actually be able to come back and have an impact.
I've been seeing like such a buzz recently about this topic. Like Team APS had a video talking about how like most cards on the balance could come back, nothing would happen. I've seen so many people discussing Hulk of all things. Like, is there a world where Hulk can come back?
I have PTSD. There's no way.
I mean, it probably
Gosh.
no, look, I don't want it to come back, but I don't think it would be that crazy.
I
But
think it would.
I don't think it's
Absolutely
gonna
would.
come back.
Well, it also is so hard to future-proof that card because it's way too
Yeah,
generic.
no, I agree. I don't want it to come back. But it's like,
No, I actually think that one cannot come back. People often underestimate the power of cards that by themselves don't look like they do that much. But Hulk of Firex is a crazy card. I would not say that card can come back.
yeah, maybe that's fair enough.
You're such a hater.
Sure, I'll take it.
All the good synchros are gone, man. No Magic Dragon, no Baron, no Savage.
It's
No
not
one
just about
calls it
synchros,
Magic
though.
Dragon. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, man. He's magical, okay? At
We
least to
had
me.
this discussion at Worlds. You
What
were
do you call
proven
it?
wrong by everybody.
What do you call it? Chaos,
Chaos
Ruler?
Ruler or
Chaos
Ruler.
Ruler, yeah.
Okay.
Chaotic. It's not Magic Dragon. It's nowhere. It's the same Magic Dragon.
It literally does. Oh, wait, what? What do you mean? Chaos Ruler?
It's
The
magical.
Magic Dragon.
Yeah, magical, right? If you're magical, it's magic. So it's Magic Dragon. It's a Magic Dragon.
Dude, it's oh my god.
Every dragon is
You
magical.
know, we
if you
had
think
this
about it.
discussion in Seattle, and like we went up to like 10 different people, and then no one understood Magic Dragon meant Chaos Ruler.
Look, man, I'm being outnumbered by Americans, so that's my excuse. That's what
Worlds is
happened.
literally not like
It's
the
in
whole point is
Seattle.
it's not just Americans. Yeah, but we weren't like at a normal event.
Nah, I don't know, man. Home turf advantage.
You were so proud going up to Trish as well, saying he's the Dragonlink guy. He'll answer in my favor, and you got shit on. So
Yeah, personally, TCG, I've taken a little bit of a break right now because my locals runs exactly when I break my fast during Ramadan, so I haven't been going to locals, unfortunately. I was having a blast. I don't like playing against Malice. I think that's like the most unfun deck to play
Oh,
against
really?
these days. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the games are very interactive sometimes
You
against
just seem
Malice.
like a hater to me, I think.
And
I feel like you're just hating at this point.
and like a lot of my hand traps just do nothing against that deck except the silver bullet ones, which is like that's not fun for either player. Dropping a Chaos Hunter, Alancia, or what's the third
Oh,
one?
Josh and I haven't
Meows?
talked about this for hours on end already. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, just
No, I
fair
was just
enough.
baiting. I was just representing the typical chatter
Yeah,
Oh
okay, fair
God.
enough.
Yep.
that whenever I complain about Malice, they're like, "Well, what about Detonator? Detonator is just as powerful as the Malice end board."
Well, you know what? I don't mind Detonator because it doesn't take 20 minutes to set up. You know, like that's I got places to be, man.
That's another thing that
No,
I
you
keep
don't.
saying. I don't understand why people find like these decks like whenever a deck doesn't take 15 minutes to set up, people all of a sudden find it boring.
Mm. Yeah, no joke, 37-minute combo, but then when it's 7 minutes, suddenly it's a problem. You know.
People will always complain. It's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's always like the what's the word? Different parts of the spectrum in the audience, because ultimately this is a huge community. So you know, it's like a seesaw, right? You upset one side, the other side's gonna be like suddenly piping up after being quiet when they were happy. So yeah,
I mean, to an extent, that's fair. I feel like the people that are upset about something are always the more vocal
yeah.
part of the community. So it's always like, some people are happy, some people are not happy. Then things change, and then the other people are now not happy. So yeah, it's
I'll tell you what
whatever.
I'll tell you what I'm super excited about. Like I am transitioning over from Blue Eyes into a Dragon Maid main because I am so hyped for those cards. You guys, why are you shaking your head? What's wrong with?
I
Why?
Hey, Herman's got into you, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, man, Dragon Maids, that deck looks so fun. Always like Dragon Maids. You not excited for that? What? There's also another semi-relevant deck in that set, I think, that's coming. Oh, Orcus, right? Should be
Orcus.
probably. Yeah.
Which was way more relevant
Probably,
in
yeah.
the
That's
OCG at least for a
the funny
while.
thing.
It's kind of gone now, but yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
lost.
legal for your nationals? Because I know German was just announced recently.
Well, you tell me the date it comes out. I can tell you if German Nationals is before or after, because I do know the date of German Nationals, but I don't know the date of.
Mid-June.
Sorry again.
Mid-June. I don't know when exactly June, but
Mid-June.
mid-June.
Well, German Nationals is also mid-June, so now we got a problem.
It could be the
All
weekend.
right.
Very likely, I think, right?
It is. So German Nationals is 14th and 15th of
I
June.
think it is that weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that weekend, just the
I think
Thursday.
it is that weekend. Yeah.
Okay, that is interesting. I like that.
Kind of annoying if you're German trying to get all these new cards. Gotta buy them immediately, like for the event.
It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, that part is annoying. Yeah, but like I like it from the playing perspective. Of course, logistically, it's kind of a nightmare. So you gotta like know people that open the product or go like immediately hit up a store. I mean, they're gonna have stores set up at the German Nationals. I'm pretty sure. So
Speaking of
we'll
which, I
be
should
fine.
probably book my accommodation for nationals. Have you booked yours?
Yes.
Oh, what the
I'm actually
hell?
early this time around. I'm usually very late with that kind of stuff, but it like they shared a link around in my team of like, hey, we're all gonna grab this hotel, so I just did it too.
Genius. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess like to be continued. I think that the TCG is gonna have a fairly decent shakeup. There's quite a lot of stuff coming, either in the form of like just new support because Malice are getting a lot of those like eye cards. We're getting a bunch of new decks. How relevant they are, we don't know. Maze of the Master also just released Man, the deck. That's probably not good.
Oh man.
the Odeon Man with the Mark.
Oh.
Do you think that deck's good? Like playable? Or just completely terrible, Jesse? I know Josh
I
hates it.
intend
Like,
on trying it out and playing it.
I
You
don't hate it.
really?
I want to try it out this week, but I don't hate it. Why would you hate it?
No, I don't hate. No,
It's
here's
probably
okay.
throwing you under the bus.
It's probably
No,
just
no,
the
no, no.
chatter getting mad, but basically my reaction to the cards, I was very positive about them. I don't think the deck's like meta or anything, but I thought they were really good
Yeah.
cards. And then all the comments were like, man, this is a stark contrast from Josh. Josh says those cards are terrible. He hates this deck.
No, okay. Look, there's some nuance to this. So first of all, this is more from a designs perspective rather than I think it's a bad deck perspective. Like I don't think it's a bad deck. I've seen some of the lists that have been floating around. It topped the regional, and I watched the deck profile earlier today, which seemed like a very good way to approach the deck. And I do think it has something to it. I was disappointed in the sense that it doesn't feel like a trap deck to me. Because the way that people and I have like I know
Is
I
it?
have my very own opinions about like trap decks and like I know I like some decks that a lot of people don't like, but with that deck specifically, I was just not expecting it to turn out this way because the way it's being played for context, or the list that topped the regional, and I think is most likely the best way to play the deck as well, is just it plays a whole bunch of the new Odeon cards that are like one card combos, like the field spell, Man with the Mark, and Anubis the Last Judge, and tries to resolve a one card combo that gets you to like a full back row plus Lord of
Yeah.
the Heavenly Prison and like a Temple of the Kings setup. And then the way they play that is just like all the one card starters, all the engine requirements, like all the continuous trap stuff is almost played at a minimum. You play
Mhm.
like one Anguish pattern, some like as minimal package of the Apple Fist traps, and that's essentially it. And then like the rest is just 18 hand traps or
But
whatever.
okay, but to be fair, if there ever was a combo deck that was going to, or a trap deck that was going to be like a combo deck, it was going to be a Temple of the King's deck. The card that lets you use traps on turn 1.
Yeah, yeah, but it's just like it's the sense it's the kind of trap deck that I'm just not
Stop looking
interested
for
in.
decks to be paleo, Josh.
No,
Does
I
it
won't.
actually
No, I
use?
won't.
Does it like it doesn't even do that much turn 1 with the traps though, right? You're
No,
literally
it
just like,
does. It
does
does.
it? I
It
thought you were
activates one trap. It activates two trap cards
Two.
turn one. Two.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
okay,
lot,
but you
to
get
be
one
fair.
off the other one. It's
Okay.
just look, it's just a whole bunch of like I activate this card, that gets me that card, that gets me this card, that summons that card, and that makes that link monster, that sets that trap
Okay,
card. It's like a whole, it's like a complete
just
string of guaranteed stuff,
it just
and it
sounds like
just
you're
ends
describing
on
Cyberse right now. Is this Cyberse but with magenta cards?
no,
That's
that's
just
just modern
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
man.
One card combo
What are you
decks.
talking about?
It's
You're just
like
trying to rile him up at this point.
yeah, no, so that's like it's just in that sense it's a I think it's a viable deck. It's not like better than other current tier 1 decks at all, but it's not bad. It's just when I say I don't like it, or when someone like feels I don't like it, it's because I don't resonate with the play style. Like it doesn't feel like a trap deck to me at all.
Hmm.
It's like when they turned Altergeist into a combo deck, which at the time, like the support cards were probably fine, but it's just like someone who liked Altergeist in 2018 is not going to feel the same way
Dude,
when
that's
they play this
crazy.
newer.
I don't know what they did to Marionette set 4. Like, it is insane how they ruined DZ's deck like that.
Yeah, so
but
that's
yeah.
how I feel about it. Plus the fact that they added like random ass fusions and raw support into it, which I thought was like kind of weird.
I thought it was cool. The raw support is cool. It's not good, but it's funny. It plays into the lore a bit. It's not
Yeah,
the
I
worst in
get
the
it.
world. You can
I
use
get
it.
that. I just wanted it to be good more than I wanted it to be cool.
I wanted it to be good. I think one of the coolest parts about it is that it is like, I think like pound for pound, it's one of the most powerful field spells ever. Like, it's not like
Oh yeah.
a good
yeah, that card is nice.
deck, but oh my god, that field spell does so much. Yeah, I think it's like definitely one of those like regional topping decks that could be strong months from now when we get something that cleans up the entire format.
It just needs to not be up against Detonator, then it might even be able to play going
Detonator,
forward.
I know, yeah, that's the issue. So the thing is like, it feels like just recently, there's been like so many decks, and are going to be so many decks in the format that are like just a degree below like Malice and Resail. Like, it feels like there's so many like good, solid tier 3 rogue decks right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what else to really say about that. I guess it's like sad in a way, but also just unsurprising.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just this whole thing of stuff comes like a lot of decks come out. Not everything can't be the new best deck. Otherwise, we'd be complaining about hella power creep if like every new deck was suddenly tier 1.
Mm.
Uh, so sometimes stuff just has to come out and be tier 2 or tier 3, which I guess depending on where you're at. With like if you really like a deck that's come out, then you might be sad about the fact that it doesn't compete with Resail or Malice to like head to head, you know. But
Mm. All right, let us go into Mastodon. We got DC Cup this weekend, the biggest grind. People trying to qualify for that coveted world spot to try and dethrone Jesse as the champion. Yeah, I'm just gonna say straight off the bat, Mastodon ranked is the most miserable I've ever experienced right now. I hate Mastodon ranked. I'm just, yeah, it's I hate
I
this
have
game.
really been enjoying Blue Eyes, and I didn't expect to enjoy it this much, but I've actually liked playing.
I like it as well.
And
I
it's not
just
because of Snake Eye, but
I wonder how
Blue
many
Eyes is
people
more
are gonna
fun.
top in the Duelist Cup with Blue Eyes, Jesse.
I want to play it, but I also don't know if I really want to play a full Duelist Cup when I don't have to.
I mean, you can do a casual like 30 hours or so.
That's
or
what I
something.
plan on doing probably, which is crazy that I'm calling that casual, but that's what I did last time.
Yeah, like
Everything,
you.
by the way, by definition of Farfa, everyone who sleeps more than they play is a casual during the Duelist Cup weekend.
This is revisionist history. You were really killing it with Fire Kings last time. You had like a solid win rate considering how like few games
Yeah,
you played by
I was
comparison.
kind of wishing I played more to like try and top 10, but I was doing really well. But that was I think people approached that format so badly. They were just so scared of Tenpai. They ended up playing these piles of garbage decks that just
I did that.
Just at him, man. Yeah.
no, you were worse. I played versus Salad deck and I zombie vampired him and I milled Iron Thunder Judgment of Warning from his deck. And I'm like, what the
Oh no,
hell?
people were
Like,
crazy. It was
like what the hell is that? Like, no
It
wonder
was
you guys
such a
can't
weird
win more than
dynamic.
50% of your games. Your deck has 9 counter traps.
Dude,
What I-
Tenpai did weird things to us, man. Okay, you don't understand. You didn't have to try to qualify again during Tenpai format.
Wait, so what's your
I
plan,
mean, Ryan
Josh?
would have. It's a crazy thing.
Are you doing like the full grind?
Me?
Yeah.
I can't say yet because like from last time, I felt like
Okay, John, this is like literally deja vu. We had this exact conversation last DC Cup.
No,
and
we
then-
didn't.
Well, no, but the thing is, after DC Cup, you said like a few weeks ago, you were like, "Well, I always knew I was in hindsight, I knew I wasn't gonna do well because I just didn't commit because your attitude was like not your heart wasn't in it. So you're in that same spot right now. Your heart is clearly not in it. So you're gonna have a really bad time. Like
I might, but then I'll stop. That's what I told myself.
But you what?
Huh?
You might, but what?
No, if I have a bad time, I'll just stop. That's the thing.
Okay.
The last time I forced myself to like I did give up like a couple hours early, but I did do 3 days.
Hmm.
So I think like this time around, I'm a little bit more realistic of what I'm gonna play. Like I'm not gonna try anything super fancy. I just think like the more I thought about it, the more I've prepared over the last couple of days. I do think it's like there's very little reason not to play like Snake Eyes. Unless
Yeah.
you're like in the higher ranks and you're making like very specific meta calls. Like I don't know, maybe at some point you whip out like the
Just the
power spell
Millennium
Tenpai
deck, right?
or like yeah, the Millennium Snake Eye.
Mhm.
Or like a hand trap pile that's designed to beat other Millennium decks or whatever. But like for the most part, like the Millennium Fiendsmith Snake Eye, maybe Azamina, is such a complete freaking Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Like it just does everything so much better than most other Yu-Gi-Oh decks that like I'm just gonna commit to playing that deck. And if I do well with it, then fine, I'll keep going. And if I'm miserable because I just hate the mirrors or whatever, then I'll just like stop.
It feels weird because like you just have to play so many games, and like Snake Eye games are long. Like if you lose the dice roll, like you're just sitting there, and then you're gonna have to like play it out because it's the DC Cup, and like it just sounds like a terrible weekend.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you're right. I am not fully committed, and which it might end up not leading to me not doing well once again. But it's just like it's a mix of I'm not the biggest fan of the format right now, so I wasn't super motivated to commit fully. I also was like pretty busy over the last couple of weeks, so like during maybe weekends or other off days where I would have liked to maybe prepare, I just didn't have the time for it.
Hmm.
And I still don't feel comfortable like not like just saying like from the get-go I'm not gonna try. Like I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna be there on Friday, I'm gonna try my best, I'm gonna see how I like it. And if it seems doable, then I'll keep going. And if not, I'll just focus on the real the world's qualifier at the end of the season. Because that's the one where I'm gonna give myself no other option but to commit. Because that's the one that's way more realistic anyways. Because instead of first in the world, you have to get like top 1 or top 2 EU, whatever it's going to be. That is
Probably
just
top
way
2,
more
right?
realistic. Yeah, probably top 2 because Wales is in Europe. So like I
Also because you don't have the defending champs being European.
oh yeah, maybe that was the reason last time why it was only one. Yeah, because it was us defending it. Yeah, I don't know exactly what their reasoning was for cutting a slot from. But
That was rough though.
I think it's gonna be probably gonna be 2 slots for Europe, and like that qualifier is way more it's way more realistic anyways to qualify through that one. So that's the one I'm definitely gonna commit on. I don't feel comfortable just skipping this one though, just from the get go. I'll try on Friday, and if I get lucky and like I do well, then I think it's fine. I will say, as much as I hate playing against Snake Eyes, I think playing Snake Eyes yourself is for me personally, more fun than playing Tenpai. So even though I don't like the format much, I still like it more than last time, and I still vibe with the top deck a little more than I vibe with Tenpai.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's just like that curse of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like, when the skill drain is upside down, bad, right? But when the skill drain is correctly like facing forward, good,
Yeah,
right? Like,
but I didn't feel the same way about Tenpai. Like playing against Tenpai was miserable. Playing Tenpai myself, I also didn't have a great time.
yeah, okay. You like
But I'm, when
Tenpai,
I'm
Jesse?
figuring out Snake Eye combos, or when my opponent puts up a board and I'm trying to maneuver through it with like Snake Eye cards, like that's more
Snake
fun
Eye
to me.
can have interesting games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
Snake
sure.
Eye has a lot of non-games though is the problem.
yeah.
But Snake Eye also does have a lot of good ones. Like I was ready for Snake Eye to go when it went, but there were also many times where I did enjoy it.
I mean, yeah, when you're pulling off those combos, you feel powerful, man. Like,
Nah, it's always the grind games that feel nice when you
yeah.
win. And Fiendsmith helped for that, I guess. So maybe I'm appreciating that a little too much, but I also love Fire King, and it's a bit different, but like
You told I
that's
remember you
different.
telling me in the beginning of I don't know exactly when we played, but you played Fire King. I think it was when the stuff came out and we did the series on your channel. You
Mhm.
told me like you thought Fire King was a really good call for the Fuvalos format, like the Azamina Snake Eye
Yeah.
Fire King. Is that something you still think is because I'm not seeing that deck anywhere, and I thought about when you
Oh, I
told
think
me
that the
like
people
really
play the deck so badly because oftentimes you get into scrappy grind games with it, and you have to actually be a good player, not just know your
so you think
combos.
it's like you think there's an argument for playing that right now in Master Duel?
I do. So like it's something that I found even just so this kind of like analog happened in the TCG as well. I don't know if you guys really had a format for this to happen. When Fulas came out for us, people played the Snake Eye Fiendsmith as Mina deck, but the thing is to play that deck, you have to play more. You play more hand traps, less engine. So if I went first with Snake Eye versus a deck with a lot of hand traps, I oftentimes passed on nothing because I got triple hand trapped to death.
Mhm.
Or if I played that Snake Eye deck versus Fire King, I couldn't hand trap them enough times, so I'd lose. The Snake Eye deck, the Fire King deck would lose more going second, but it would win significantly more going first, I found, and it still would have the best hand traps when you went second, like Droll, Maxi, Fool Loss. And then versus Rogue decks, it was also significantly more favored for you. So people hyper target the Snake Eye, like traditional decks. Fire King Snake Eye plays so differently than normal Snake Eye that you don't fall victim to the same stuff for the most part. And
Yeah.
not being weak
Just
to Fu is
I was
also
just
a huge
wondering
one.
about that because I don't see that deck at all in Master Duel. And maybe it's because
So
the Fire King deck, I don't know exactly how much it synergizes with the Millennium
oh,
in
no,
particular.
you don't have enough engine space. You cannot. The
Yeah,
deck
right.
is the same as it has been. You wouldn't change anything.
Because those
But
cards are so broken, dude.
Really? It doesn't even play Fiendsmith?
no, God no.
I'm sure I saw Jeff, I think, playing like a Fiendsmith variant with Fire King.
Jeff, who?
Yeah, you know the guy who like had that DC issue in the last DC Cup?
Oh, yeah. I have no idea, but
Oh yeah, they were playing Fire King
I,
last time.
Hmm.
I would not. So yeah, so was Ryan. Like Fire King before that event wasn't on people's radars. I didn't understand why. I played it. Jeff played it. Ryan played it. I know a lot of good players played it and did very well with it. I felt like I was playing a better deck than people at that event,
So
and I
is it
feel like it's the
just
same
is
here, where
that just
it's
Azamina Snake Eye Fire King?
uh there were no Asmina cards at the time, but
Oh, okay.
I was just Snake Eye Fire King like in the
Hmm.
last cup, and it was like it's like everyone had forgotten about the deck, and that feels like that happens in National more than you'd expect. I do think that the Millennium deck is probably better, but because it gives you the made up engine pieces you're missing to play through hand traps that my analog, at least for the TCG, didn't have.
Mm.
However, I do think the deck is underappreciated and underrepresented. It is very strong. It is less hand traps. But you still have the best hand traps, and your engine is overall stronger. I think it's better in grind games, and it plays through hand traps pretty well still.
To be honest, that's a direction I've been going anyways with the list that I'm currently planning on using. I've been cutting a lot of the quote unquote fair hand traps anyways because they just haven't been cutting it for me. Like
That
I would open hands with like Valor Imperm or whatever, Ghost Ogre Imperm, whatever. And even though those cards are technically good, I would just like it would just not be enough. So I've like considering like adding just more engine to whatever I'm playing and more outs to like their maxis or whatever, and just maximize Millennium and just play like Fuva Droll Maxi because
Yep.
like those are the ones that'll actually do it.
And that's the point where I recommend like Fire King because that's kind of where that feels.
Maybe.
It is definitely a trade off. It's not like I cover every base as good as Snake
Yeah,
Eye, but I think if you
yeah.
want to look for more engine, good. And then my not a biggest thing, but a nice thing about it is the rogue decks are just so free when you have cards like Garunix and Kieran in your deck.
Well, you say Rogue decks, but I feel like the Rogue decks right now is just like Stun. It's just, Skyburn has
Well,
forbidden
okay, but
doors.
you'll play against a lot of random crap in the cup. Like I played
Yeah.
Salad several times.
Yeah. Okay.
And I love it when they go Princess Pop on turn 1. I have a Garunix or Eponyx in my hand, and it just comes out, and they
Yeah.
they freak out. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be a Snake Eye Cup. I'm probably playing Blue Eyes though, because as I
I
said,
mean,
I just
I
really,
will
really like
say
the deck.
I'm enjoying the Blue Eyes deck a lot. I think it's very, very fun. It has a very fun like gameplay loop, very fun mid-range deck. Unfortunately, with a decent amount of bricks, which I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know how they were ever gonna avoid that problem. To be fair,
it's still Blue Eyes,
because that
unless you
was
cut
kind of
Blue
the
Eyes
deck.
from the deck, but you can't take the identity away from that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but it's very fun. It's just unfortunately, I feel like a little underpowered if you're looking at the other stuff that's going on in Master Duel right now. But I think it's like the kind of deck where, similar to the TCG, once we get past Snake Eyes, I think it's like, and we get Primate, then Blue Eyes is definitely gonna have another shot at being like top tier deck.
I'm really curious what the reason is for not bringing Prime out at the same time. I suppose just like from a business model, spreading out the release and time gaining it somewhat just means like people will just log back in a couple months from now. I
I
suppose is
mean, I
like the
guess you
biggest
get like
logic.
two spikes, right? You get like a
Yeah,
spike now where everyone's like, "Oh, Blue Eyes is finally here," and then they play some ranked games and they're like, "That's not good enough yet." And then they log out, and then
they come back later.
they
Yeah.
a month later they're like, "Oh God, now Primate is here. Now I can actually play Blue Eyes and it's meta." Like, yeah, kind of like that. I think.
I thought they would have saved it more for it to be a meta deck for the World Championship. I guess it still could be, but
I think it
yeah, I imagine
absolutely
that's
could
like
be. Like,
yeah.
if you imagine a timeline where next thing that's happening is like hitting Snake Eyes and hitting White Forest and whatever, and then releasing Primate, I think it's like
I guess what is it?
reasonable.
It's like 5 months away. I mean, yeah, probably not
There's
gonna
still
get
a
hit.
lot to happen, I think. But I
Yeah,
did say this already. I did feel like the timing for it was a little odd because you're releasing this mid-rangey bad
yeah.
chest fan favorite deck into like a format where it's just like hell for it. Because people are logging in with I feel like when you have like an old school Yu-Gi-Oh fan logging in with the new Blue Eyes cards, you don't want them to queue into friggin' Snake Eyes. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we could talk about Snake Eye forever, but I feel like a lot of that was discussed last year with the TCG. Like, just
Yeah.
nothing's really
We've been through
changed.
this.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing. Like, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Um, but it is what it is. Just waiting for the next horizon.
It's funnier. It's even better in Master Duel with Apo being legal, Beatrice being legal, Lacrima being legal all at the same
Oh
time,
man.
as well as Amina cards, and Doom and Dragon's also crazy.
Yeah, and then all the problems are further exacerbated because it's best of one, and then there's also the Charmies and Maxi, and oh, it's just it feels like every game that you play with Snake Eye and against Snake Eye is like always on a knife edge. Like there's so many sort of like pass fail mechanics. It feels like, you know, it's like Maxi and then the out to Maxi, then the Fua, then the out to the Fua, and then like just not having enough to stop like special Diabell. Okay, negate normal Ash or activate Bonfire. There's just so many like hard walls that you either draw like Droll or you just didn't draw enough to beat it. I just don't enjoy it. I like playing the deck. Like it's a fun like deck like to play. But like it's just one of those like selfish type of things where it's like when I'm doing
Yeah.
it, it's fine. When other people are doing it, you know, not so much. But even then, sometimes it isn't because you normal summon Ash, you get negated, you just didn't draw enough extenders, and then you
No,
just
it's
ugh.
yeah, it's the exact same thing that we've talked about throughout all of 2024. It's just Master Duel is slightly behind, so we're
Now we're
having the
there.
exact same problems in Master Duel.
All right. Yeah, so we should probably just move on. You know, nothing
Uh,
new here. Let's talk about Tenpai. That's also a viable deck potentially for the for
Great.
the DC Cup. I mean, there
Everyone's
will just be a
favorite.
lot of Tenpai players. So
Yeah, for
thoughts?
sure.
yeah.
I do not like that deck, but I've been pretty vocal
Okay,
about it the
speaking
whole
of things
time.
we've said all of 2024.
Yes, it's just more of the same. You have to rely on your engine. Sometimes cuts it, but oftentimes it doesn't. And I hate relying on non-engine more. Also, sitting through all the combos is frustrating. You get high rolled when you just play in bullshit FTKs or whatever, and you of course chose to go second, so you feel even more like an idiot when you do that.
I think from what I've seen, the hand trap Tenpai just doesn't really cut it at the moment. I personally think. I
Really?
feel like the power spell one is the scarier one, the Sky Striker like Tenpai.
I don't know, I feel like 8 Maxis is like pretty strong. Plus drawing into more hand traps and the
Okay, you did
engine.
not just call Perulia Maxi.
Okay, it's like a weaker version, but Fu was definitely
Oh,
like.
it draws like if they open a Millennium card, they could give you like 0 if they wanted to.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm always just gonna remember like board breaker issues in the DC Cup where you're like, all right, let's stop playing Chimera. Josh builds board breaker
Oh my
striker,
God.
cues 2 gimmick puppets in a row.
Dude, I haven't queued into Gimmick Puppet for 5 hours, okay? So I was like, let me build a board breaker deck.
I've played so much of that crap. It's so frustrating.
That's the kind of thing that makes me scared of making meta calls when I'm playing a Duelist Cup.
Yeah.
That's just the
I think
universe
you can't
telling
be
you like
too
you
big
need
on
to
the
stop.
calls.
So,
Yeah.
Jesse, what did you say you were gonna play again this weekend? You were just gonna try and grind it
Blue
out with
Eyes.
Blue Eyes. Okay.
Blue
What's your-
Eyes or Fire King, maybe. It's decks I like.
What's the deal with Mathematician? Like, I thought you were just playing it because Snow, because it's fun, but there's
Yeah.
no way that shit's optimal.
So it started off like that, and then every single person I played against just keeps validating it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep it in because it always eats hand traps. And if it needs to do it needs to be my only starter, it works. So it still does its job. And you don't need to play it by any means, but it's actually just been working for me as it eats every hand trap like imaginable. And the card is fine.
I just can't believe someone sees Mathematician get summoned and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna use a negate.
It
on
happened
this."
like 5 consecutive games in a row on stream yesterday. It was insane. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I'll take it. I already had a Sage in hand, and I'm in the Spirit resolved now. So, I mean, like, it's a starter, but it's
What
just
does it
Seahorse.
send typically? Like,
Maiden. It's just Seahorse. It's the exact same as Seahorse.
God.
Yeah. It's the same as Seahorse without the ability to summon itself from hand as an extra special. If
But you
you
can also crash and draw and like some weird game
Yeah.
states, which does come up.
Jesse's like,
Oh,
you're
shut up. When
describing
you
like.
both players have like 3 or 4 hand traps, that legitimately becomes a need. Bro, when you play Sticks and Stones Yu-Gi-Oh, that draw matters a lot.
On
I love
principle,
Mathematician.
I
You have
am
to
not
tell me first.
negating a card printed before 2014 on principle. All right, that's just not.
I'll remember that next time
What
I
about
do the fun of
Maxi?
Avarice. But Maxi, there we go. It's sad I'm thinking that faster. You heard it here. Farfetch stands for not negating Maxi.
Gotta play different decks now. Dante passes how many draws? Like 2. Oh. Yeah, so DC Cup, I don't know, I just feel like there isn't really much to talk about in this element, right? Like it's just sort of
because we're repeating a format we had on the TCG 5 months ago.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like you probably see mostly White Forest Azamina Fiendsmith or Snake Eye Millennium Fiendsmith or Snake Eye Azamina Fiendsmith. Those are like the top 3 combo decks in the format. Then you've got Tenpai and Stun as like genuinely like I kind of understand why people are playing Stun in this particular format if they're not vibing with Tenpai or like any of the combo piles, even though I personally don't like it, but it's like the win rate is not that bad for Stun. Like I have a couple of very frustrating games against Stun because like it's just one of the ways how you can escape the friggin'
Yep.
Maxi Fuva mini game, whatever. Like and it kind of works against these all-in combo decks, and so I don't even think it's that bad right now, and that's about it, I think, in terms of really viable options.
Yeah.
Maybe Fire King is one that I'm underestimating because I haven't played it in a while. Like Fire King Snake, I have not that much experience with it right now.
I'm glad I've got you here specifically, Jesse. What do you think of Tearlament?
In Master Duel, right?
Yeah, because I don't think I've talked to you about it since Fiendsmith release, and now there's Millennium cards.
So the problem with it is you just can't beat combo decks. Like the deck is built to either power through your opponent's combo or go first and create an impossible field to beat. Like yes, there are more resources bolstering its own combo, but you don't get started when your opponent's decks can play hand traps and then also end on the same field you do. At Worlds and Master Duel is different because at least all the broken fields had no spell negates. So whether it was Appaloosa, Arvada, which were still hard to beat, or there was Phantom U-Bell plus Appaloosa, I could grass, I could talents, I can try break the field with spell cards, which is how the deck was designed. Now there's Desiree, there's Varadras, there's Ilya Silva, there's Omnis. You're not breaking through that, so can't play that deck without it being a coin flip deck. Which there are many like that. If you wanted to play that, that's not the nature or the reason to play tier. It's so you can play a deck that actually pushes through stuff going second. can't do that right now. And until that changes, it's not gonna. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many good tools it gets, unless the tools help it fight through Omni negates, which would be insane.
Yeah, I mean, on a casual level, I've definitely enjoyed it so much. The Millennium cards being one card zombie vampire plus like
Or
Beatrice
Curious.
was so good. Oh, you've been using it for Curious?
You can do that as
If you play
well.
the
Yeah.
shield, it's also curious. Yeah.
Oh God, the shield, Jesus.
It'd also be one card isoled if you play the Flame Swordsman link too.
Okay, chill out. What the hell? What is this?
Giving
is
you
it-
inspiration. What
what does this solely do? You just like summon Arma? Or...
other decks, not really for tier.
Oh, okay.
I just meant to looking at Millennium from the
Summon
broad.
Reinhardt.
Oh my God, no. From the broad combo perspective, right? Because Millennium cards were really never appreciated for their versatility in the TCG. I think we never had the
Then
ability
fork
to.
will spell
We
summon
still might
Reinhardt.
one day, but yeah, no, they're crazy in Master Duel.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Tearlaments is definitely not a bad deck. It's just once again a matter of it doesn't do anything better than the other decks going first. Like the Snake Eye combo is just like that's what I mean when I say like that deck is kind of complete in terms of what it does. Like it's got still appropriate room for all the non-engines. Like it's got appropriate pushes for going second into like half boards that you're trying to force your opponent to create. And its first turn combo is like very much unbeatable for most normal decks.
So last DC Cup, I think one of the more like surprising things was just how much like pendulum there was. I'm just wondering if you guys think that there's like a pick like that for this DC Cup, like something like 5 to 10 top 100 decks are gonna make it through of this like specific deck. Like, do you think there's some sort of like randomly okay sleeper into like the day 3 meta or something weird like that?
Millennium and Stun, maybe just not being hit by any of the same non-engine, and then floodgates. But yeah, I don't know.
I hate the fact that the first thing I thought it was also stun.
That
Yeah,
plays like
that's
Exodia,
what
right?
it is.
Like you actually play
Yeah.
Exodia, right?
Yeah, 'cause it just
Millennium
searches the
Stun
rig
plays
engine.
Exodia.
There's two
yeah.
different, Stun or Millennium Stuns, those two, I guess. But
Yeah. What do
I
you
think
think
those are
about?
both unfortunately somewhat viable.
Do you think Stun's viable? Like Stun? And also, what does that even look like? Does it play Millennium or is it like Horus or?
No.
No,
It's
stun is just barrier statue and trap cards.
Whoa, my god!
Yeah.
Which, by the way, searchable with 7th Tachyon now. You can get Fossil Dino.
Yeah. I
Do you
mean,
think
that
that's like
I think
viable?
it. I think overall has a slightly above 50% win rate, or should.
What you're
Because
saying
you
is if I
should be
play for
winning,
70 hours,
you should be winning against the combo decks going first,
Hmm.
and you should be beating Tenpai more than 50% of the time, which I think overall should give you like a slightly above 50% win rate. And your games are gonna be, I think, reasonably fast.
And you can also cheese sometimes going second with cards like what's the spell again? The continuous spell.
Which one? Like, is it a
That can
stun?
help me. The Dogmatica spell.
The
The
deer?
deer serve?
Oh, Golgonda.
Golgonda, yeah.
Decisive Battle of
Oh, wait,
Golgonda. What does it do going second specifically? That's so good.
Just stops destruction, right? So like when you get into these weird spots, it like protects your guys.
Okay, yeah.
Also,
fair
if they
enough.
don't have enough monsters to run over it multiple times, you just like
Yeah, I sometimes I have seen stun steal games going second, and they have to have pretty good hands to do it. But if it can
Mm.
that
happen,
happened to
it's
me
just it
earlier. I
edges the
got
win
like
rate up
super
earlier.
polyed on my negates, and then they flipped rivalry, and then they next turn they duality into morphing jar, and then I drew 5 cards.
Morphing jar.
Whoa, Jarfa, let's go.
I got destroyed by that.
Oh,
Impressive.
do you think you'd play something like 7th Tachyon?
I haven't given actual time to looking at how to play it, so
I also
I
I don't
don't
have a
know.
reference list right now, but I've seen some people do it. I don't know if it's worth going -1 because I feel like there's enough other stun monsters. I don't think you need to necessarily open like Fossil Dyna. I think it's fine if you have like a barrier statue instead. So I don't know if that kind of deck wants to play a -1 Rhoda, but maybe it does.
I'm just like, so perplexed that the top 100 for last season, I think that would be the February season, there were 2 stun decks in the top 10. Like, it's crazy to see Thunder King in a top list in 2025.
I mean, like, yeah, but
That's
if you
nuts.
think about it, like that deck going first usually wins. Going second, it has like maybe a 10% win rate or something, but then sometimes it happens, and then Tenpai makes you go first every time. So overall,
It feels more volatile, but yeah, it averages out to be something that's somewhat respectable.
yeah. and it's quick most of the time.
That's a good point.
I don't know what kind of win rate percentage you need for it to be like an actual contender for a Duelist Cup, because I think just slightly above 50 doesn't cut it, because at some point you start losing more points than you gain slightly, so that kind of offsets it. Because if you reach like the higher point totals, you do kind of like like what is it? Like you gain like only 1,000, but you lose like slightly more than 1,000. So you'd have to have like 55 or something. I don't know if it quite gets there, but not bad, I think.
Aerial Eater just got released, right? In the Blue Eyes pack, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how relevant that is for Ubel because they already have Beatrice, so I'm not sure if you play both, but that deck just feels like it's fallen off a cliff. Like where's Ubel at? Like no one's
So
playing it.
that's where Fireton felt, I think, before Cup. I think Master Duel has like a tendency to just forget about past decks for new ones that even if only a little bit better. I think U-Belt is still fine. It's still a good deck. Although it's
Yeah.
the exact same as it was in the TCG. It's good, but Snake Eyes is just better. You can definitely do well with it in the Cup with UL. The deck is,
There's
I
very
know
little
who's bad.
reason to play Ubel right now because Snake Eye just does the same thing but better. And I
Mm.
think it was exactly the same for us, like literally at Euros last year, where it was just like Snake Eyes was outnumbering Ubel by so much. Because I don't think that stuff is always like in proportion. Because like even if Snake Eye is only slightly better, of course a majority of players are going to pick that one that's slightly better. So like
Especially if they play very similarly and have the same
even if it's
kind of play
only
style.
5% more powerful, you're still going to have like way more than 5% difference in play rate, because obviously why would you pick the slightly worse deck? Especially like you said, when their playstyle isn't even that different. Like they're both like pretty all in one card combo type decks, you know? So like it's not like someone is going to be like, I hate Snake Eyes because I feel playing it feels miserable, but then looks at you Bell and go like, yeah, that's my shit. No one does that.
I think like Ubel plays slightly less undesirable draws. Like you have the OG Ubel and the Terror, but like Snake Eye just has like a lot of cards that are just not great to draw. I think maybe
Snake Eyes has better ways of making use of them, you know? Like you always like the current version of Snake Eyes. I've even been messing around with Gamma in because of how often you don't care about drawing a random monster. Like you can place one monster for Wedju Temple all the time.
I miss Gamma.
I don't.
I know you don't. Yeah, you're always been a Gamma hater.
I like Gamma.
But Gamma is just like it's just
no,
one more.
you
It's
can't
just one
support me.
more
That only
out
makes me
to
look
the
worse.
Maxi mini game, you know?
Wait,
and,
what?
And it's
What did you say?
Me?
Jesse.
Don't
So
worry about it.
if my opinion aligns with yours, it's wrong. I see.
Yeah, that's the
I see.
problem. I need you to not agree with me.
No, the Gamma going first was some of the most serotonin you could do in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like just
That's
getting.
not why.
I'm also not
what's wrong
denying
with the
that.
game.
I don't care.
That's not the. That's
I don't
not
care.
the point of it's good. I wanted something that actually provides removal going second.
I don't
Because
care.
it's
Giga
so
Chad.
rare.
I had fun activating Gamma and then making an instant Magic Dragon before playing
You
the
see
game.
who you're fighting
Chaos
with, Jesse?
Ruler.
Whatever.
You see who you
with a child. Ah!
I'm reproducing. How does that make you feel, Jesse? We could do like a short rundown of maybe some predictions for post DC Cup ban list hits. If we believe that there's going to be many hits, I like surely Snake Eye will be dead before Worlds. Clueless.
Beatrice, bye.
Oh,
Beatrice
no.
is definitely getting banned. That card is
You're
definitely
gonna have to see it die in several formats in real time, Farfa.
Yeah.
One by one.
Have you guys
bang.
played Balatro?
No.
I know what it is. Like I'm familiar with the concept.
There's a Yu-Gi-Oh mod for Balatro that I played, and Beatrice is in it. So you could try that out sometime, Jesse. It's just pretty fun.
What is Balatro?
Oh, you don't know? It's just basically like this roguelike poker game.
You've never drawn like two of the same card in a Master Duel game and your entire chat goes Balatra's hand?
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. This is the poker
You
game.
never like bothered.
You
gotta try it out.
Well, my Twitch chat trolls me, and half the time I end up searching up porn on my computer. So.
You know,
yeah,
that's true. If you just type in Rule 34 Beatrice, Jesse, you'll find out more about the Balatro mods.
No, I'm not following that again.
Oh, you know what that is? Okay, never mind. Damn. I was just giving you time
again. He said I'm not falling for that again.
So the ban list hits, yeah, Beatrice, I think that's very likely. I don't think they'll hit it that soon, maybe. I mean, I don't know, right?
I think they will.
What do you mean that soon? They're like 2 years late.
Late.
Okay, 2 years is crazy, but that yeah, I think Snake Eye will finally be dealt a death blow. It has to be. It's been long enough.
Yeah. What did they
And-
do to it in the OCG? Because they do kind of follow suit.
Oh, they
most of
just
the time.
like crippled the consistency to
They
death.
didn't actually kill it, right?
Yeah,
I don't
Like
remember.
technically, on paper, I think it's still there.
I'm pretty sure OCG Snake Eye just like is technically still like you can just
I think it's
summon
one
Ash.
witch, one wanted, one bonfire, one ash, one poplar.
I mean, I
But that's
guess
not even
a
that
majority
good.
of it, a majority would already be done if like Beatrice was banned and Fiendsmith couldn't pivot into it. Like that's genuinely how like 80% of their hands feels like play these days is like through Beatrice.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. So one thing
So-
that you can do in one thing that like, I think is pretty good though, I think it might just be that those originals limited, or is it to 3? That to me still feels playable though. Like if they do that. And one other thing you could do that's pretty cool in the TCG at least, that you definitely need to do Master Duel, is if you're playing Doom Dragon, is play more temples, or you play rank 4s to get into Poplar to temple, place Ash Smell Trap Card Zone, then go Cross Sheep.
Wait,
then Doom
explain
Dragon.
this rank 4 play.
Sure. So what I do in Crystal Beast is I go Pegasus,
The fuck are you
into
talking
other
about?
Pegasus.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Crystal Beast Pegasus. No, my Crystal Beast Snake Eye deck.
Okay.
Not
All
the
right.
YCS this deck. Shut up. It's real.
Real.
Pegasus into Pegasus. Make Banshee. Banshee get Poplar. Get Temple. Temple plays Ash.
Banshee for what the fuck?
That shit's crazy. Any rank 4 can do that.
It's
then you
crazy,
go-
he says.
It actually is really good. You go Cross Sheep. Yeah, you guys are making fun of me. Poplar plays.
I'm just laughing because
Trap
Farfetch's
Card
laughing.
Zone.
so hard.
Okay, but then go this way. Then you go Doom Dragon sacking off the Ash and the Poplar for Doom Dragon. Cross Sheep revive. And if you get stopped in the Cross Sheep, you go Princess revive Ash still. So it needs to double hand trap you there. The choke point is on the Banshee instead, but it means if you hard draw a temple, so you play 3 temples, for example, or you play more originals, you actually do still have ways to consistently get to your engine. And it means you have to splash it more.
What are you saying?
Because you Snake Eye still playable.
If what happens? Beatrice, man.
If they, yeah. There's
Okay.
still easy enough ways to access Ash.
No, I was genuinely asking. I was not making fun. I was like, what-
Well, I was fun to hear Catherine like a dumbass. So.
I'm just
it's
lost.
kind of hard to follow if someone is just dying because Crystal V Sapphire Pegasus has been mentioned.
I was laughing at your reaction. I was like, so what are you saying? Like philosophically, you know, like what do you mean?
I mean, a Snake Eye Ash is an overlord, and you'll have to live with it for all of your lives.
Yeah.
Look, if they have to play Crystal D Sapphire Pegasus and 3 Snake Eyes Divine Temple, I think I'd be okay with that.
You're hated. You never got to see me play on Crystal Beast deck. The shit cooks.
Ooh. I think it's crazy that Beatrice and Elf are also legal at the same time. Like that just makes like every
A lot of
it's
shit is
so
crazy
crazy,
about
yeah.
Master Duel.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West of Yu-Gi-Oh for sure.
I'm surprised no one's been doing more funny things with that. Like people have just been doing what Stellar special summon off of Elf,
Yeah.
pretty much, and that's kind of it. Which, by the way, is crazy because like the Requiem is just like a free send for that deck, like just for no reason. Like the synergies
Yeah.
are just ridiculous. Other bans, I mean, do we think we'll just see more Tenpai limits to the point where these bozos are gonna have to play like Mass Dragon?
The rest
one
is gonna be
Kaiman.
random Master Duel limits and semis that are gonna, yeah.
I
like,
think
it's-
one Kaiman is like not unrealistic.
One Kaiman,
'Cause
one
I-
Chandra, one summoning. I mean, how do you get to?
Like, they'll
anymore?
still play it. Trust me, they'll still do it. They'll play
Yeah,
Mass
no,
Dragon.
for sure.
You ready for them to go like Segage to 2?
It is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, but like the Millennium stuff is kind of.
I feel like Sangan to 1 just makes the most sense, right? Like it's just the best starter. So
it not really because it doesn't really matter which one you start with. To be honest,
I was joking, but
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think-
Also,
Wait,
can't even happen. It's still in the shop.
oh
it's
yeah,
also
that's
like
funny.
in their flagship Exodia kind of deck. You know, like how mad would
Yeah.
those people be?
Those people.
Oh, very mad.
Yeah,
Dude, if they
Screw this Snake
lose,
Eye deck. I got my cards banned.
if they lose their Sengenjin to 1 because of Snake Eyes, God
Ooh,
knows what they're gonna do.
yeah, those people who are activating Dai-Fi before activating Sengenjin.
That's my dad.
Whoa! What was that
Wait,
text
you call stun
posted?
players daddy?
Oh no, my dad actually plays Millennium, like the Millennium Stun deck right now.
How's he doing?
He's Duelist level 17, I think, now in the cup. He's grinding his way.
Holy crap, he's higher than me. Could we do a collab? Can Farfa beat Jesse's dad?
I've seen my dad do some terrible plays. He refuses
you have
to
nothing
play
to
his.
win
Sounds
from this
great.
one.
Sounds
You
like
can
a-
only lose.
My dad likes playing cards into the imperm column just to see if it'll trigger me. Like, I swear.
Yeah, they added the
Oh,
glow
it's so
animation, and
bad.
somehow I found a way to play into it.
Well, I
Yeah,
did it
I've
at
seen
Worlds,
that
which is pretty bad, so I guess I can't really talk. But
Oh god. Clever you.
I did it against Sperman round 1, 2023.
Well, there was no animation yet, though. I think 2023. In your
There
defense,
was.
there was. Yeah, I had your back, but no one would have checked it.
Okay, the game was so over that I was looking away and it didn't matter. And I just went droplet discard, and I'm like, whatever.
Well,
It's fine.
this has been a beautiful time, as always, with the boys. Shall we wrap it up there? Any other discussions or topics we have missed?
I think we got it for TCG and Master Duel.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who are listening live, I mean, there's probably so many of you who
Live?
just, listening to this in the live, the Duelist Cup being live.
Oh, okay.
So many of you will probably be listening to this in the second monitor or watching it in the second monitor as you grind your way through some games this weekend. So good luck to everyone participating.
Leave a comment on how low in my chair I am right now.
You could also leave a comment letting us know what you guys have been playing with and how the Duelist Cup has been going for you. Be interesting to see all the different types of things that people bring to this event. So check out the streams. All three of us will probably be live at some point. And of course,
Harper will still be stage 1, obviously.
I'm doing the BA section tomorrow. So I hit D17. And
Wait.
yeah,
What
so
am I?
Wait,
what am I? I can't remember. What level am I?
Well, my plan tomorrow is to
Well,
D-max
last time I said I was going to
Resail.
race you, I forgot.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm at 18.
Wow.
All right. I need to race you with BA.
Okay, guys, Jesse versus Farfa race to D20. I wonder who will win. XD.
Oh, I thought you meant race to D1.
How do you race downwards?
That was the joke.
That was the joke, yes. Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in. Big shout outs to all the Patreons and stuff. Make sure you give us $1 so you can join the exclusive Discord. Make some suggestions and also ask questions for the Patreon question, which we technically skipped right now, but I kind of have somewhere to be. Apologies. We'll do multiple bonus questions next week. Sorry, patrons. Peace out. Good night, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye bye.